Good morning, good afternoon for people that are joining us for this fantastic interview that we're going to have. So I'm hoping, first of all, that you have enjoyed the lineup of speakers that are around the very interactive session that also being offered to you. And now we're going to be talking for a very fine gentleman. So he's the head of engineering at Aggreko, Mr. Saran Tuma. So good morning. How are you, sir?
Yeah, good morning, sir. I'm doing excellent today, and thanks for this opportunity given to me.
No problem at all. I'm actually even more pleased because I believe we may be compatriots. That's from what I've seen and read. So it's a distinctive pleasure for me to be talking to you. So Samuel, so I know you work for Aggreko and you've been in the company for more than 13 years, from what I could see. So you pretty much very much understand this company. So this is a company with a very large track record. They've been around for almost 6 decades, right? So they know how to transform themselves. So the power of FTSE 250 and your business, from my understanding, obviously, everybody know that now, I should say, is to provide temporary power generation system to customer who will rent it to you. And as I say, been around for so long, so you know how to transform yourself. And in today's conversation, so what we've been discussing, we wanted to touch on the fifth industrial revolution, right? And I'm sure this is a topic that's of particular interest for you. So I wanted to know, so the fifth industrial revolution, is it just a buzzword, or do you believe it is a great thing? And what do you think of it?
The fifth industrial revolution, first of all, it's important to say, Africa is recognized as the birthplace of humanity. Egypt's contribution in the early development stages of the mathematics was instrumental and recognized in the science community globally. It's a fact. Therefore, we can reach the bottom line that Africans have the DNA of intelligence in their blood. Even though the subject of five industrial revolution seems really not widespread on most of the popular discussions platform or on social media across Africa, the visible signs of the five industrial revolution are already emerging. The topic is becoming more and more frequent on scientific and the discussion forums related to technology. What I would say is that in university platform, this can be visible in the number of startups emerging across Africa using, for example, the digital technology in countries like South Africa, Nigeria, Senegal, Ghana, just to name a few. We have seen some visible implementation, regarding the five industrial revolution. This gave me the comfort factor, to say based on these evidence that there are positive signs that the fifth industrial revolution is really a journey started by Africans.
Okay, so that's great. And now going deeper and further into the question, because we're talking about the fifth industrial revolution, and we are here today at the Africa Energy Forum. Now the question becomes: so we want to make sure that Africa is definitely not left behind. You and I have a particular interest into that. So how do we make sure that we put in place the right training and develop the right capabilities for the continent to make sure that we can achieve those targets? Do you have any kind of idea? I'd be happy to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, it's a really great and also instrumental question. At African level, I think there's a decision or priority setting to be made by the local governments or regional political organization. Okay? This will include some innovative program in our universities and also funding the research and development. And most important, facilitating the foreign investors or the private sector as key players to drive the implementation on the ground. So these are the key prerequisites which are required to ensure that the fifth industrial revolution, which is already a journey we have embarked on, move smoothly towards the goals we are looking for.
So we're talking about the fifth industrial revolution, and we talk about the role of AI. And what we know is actually skills and role will evolve, with the deployment of AI. It will become a lot more prevalent. So can you, from your understanding, because you work for a very big company, and I'm sure, like I said, you guys know how to employ yourself. So do you have an idea, maybe your own job or somebody's job, how those roles are meant to be evolving through the pathway, moving to, let's say, a much more involved economies into the fifth industrial revolution? How will the role evolves?
We expect we expect a powerful and visible impact in various fields. The first visible field where the impact can be assessed is the domain of the health science, where initially the fourth industrial revolution has already paved the road for some innovations in the field of telemedicine. Okay, it's now possible to carry out a surgery remotely using technology. Industry surely will be impacted as well in terms of growth and productivity. And we expect as well abundant stream of new jobs, ticket with very high and competitive salary to arise. We expect Africa to become the key provider of specialist resource across the globe because we do have the youngest population. So the future is here with us.
I think you're talking so well about the fifth industrial revolution. So I'm sure many people like me would think, certainly, surely, Aggreko is doing something in this field. Is there any initiative, any action that you're taking internally with regard to that fifth industrial revolution?
Exactly. Aggreko, we do believe, first of all, on the regional concept. Okay, we are operating in Africa. We do believe that a competitive and reliable business has to be driven by the local population. And just I will take some few examples, which from initiatives done and from the board management of Aggreko in align and synchronize the fifth industrial revolution. The board last year has made a critical decision of investing in talents and learning via innovative training program to meet the next 10 years strategy, which are basically driven by the digitalization. Okay. We have since many years engaged, for example, with the Institute of Engineering and Technology in the UK to uplift the capability of our core engineers and get them certified and recognized globally at the highest level. Okay. We are currently employing around 1,000, Africans national working in operational projects in more than 39 countries. And among these 1,000 employees, we do have around 500 engineers who are currently being monitored, trained, and developed to meet the future goals. And we will inform you with the use of technology. We have so far got five Africans who are already highly certified by the IET, and we still have around 31 in the pipeline. So this is something the company has put a lot of emphasis and is growing. This is one of the initiatives. And the second one, if in terms of technology, we have already moved to what I would call a data-driven operational management. Okay, using advanced remote technology driven by artificial intelligence, PLC, and automation to support the advanced learning in the domain of software, remote monitoring. And these are key examples that Aggreko puts a critical priority in, ensure that we are moving at the same speed, in the same direction with the five industrial revolution requirements.
Okay, I think I like your response, but I'd like to say that there's one thing that I have not heard. So let me give you the opportunity to probably add a bit more information on that. Because I believe the fifth industrial revolution will also be clean and green. And Aggreko is known as well for supplying diesel generators and many other products. Don't let me limit what you're doing. It's just that one single product. So I wanted to know, so in the clean and green, what are you doing specifically so that people also are aware of?
Okay, that's a great question. And since few years, we have decided to, what I would say, to reduce our carbon footprint, okay, by introducing the hybrid system, energy storage system, solar, as part of our fleet. And our long-term strategy, we are considering making the shift from, regarding what we call decarbonization, moving to a more and more green power. That's the direction that we want to take. At least you need to survive, you have to follow the direction. So we have already started this journey a couple of years ago in what I call our 4D strategy. And currently, I will tell you, look at our competitor, we have already made a lot of milestones. And I would say we are among the leading companies in terms of innovative solution, integrating the hybrid component and reducing the carbon footprint, definitely.
Or, I mean, one thing that's very clear for me, so you don't get to be a 6-decade-long company without having this ability to transform yourself. Definitely, it falls the respect, and I definitely believe that you have the ability to make it happen. And I'm happy to see that you're also moving toward the direction of many of those leading companies. Talking about still the fifth industrial revolution, which is the topic of our conversation today. So I also wanted to get your thought on what the biggest impact of that revolution could be.
The biggest impact of the fifth industrial revolution, basically, I think I've mentioned some of the critical targets earlier, not only in terms of improving the quality of life in Africa from a health sciences domain. Also, this possibility of having a large number of new stream jobs created with competitive income is really massive. And when you synchronize it to the fact that we have the largest young population, just imagine 80% of Africans well trained towards this direction. It simply means that we'll be the ones supplying, the skilled labor across the globe. In Europe, America, and all those countries will come and fit in Africa. So it's really a dream come true. It's something that we should, all of us should engage. Not only expecting the local government and political entities to do most of the job, but every African who believes in the concept of five industrial revolution should also play his part, should play his role to make sure that this journey is really effective across Africa.
One thing I can share from my own experience, which is also our case, the company that seems to be doing well in this particular period are countries that are actually very well entrenched into the local soil. So having local employees, local partners, and they can still move around, even if planes are grounded. And I can see that's also your case. And like I say, I've observed that for other companies. So you seem to be a really forward-looking company that does a number of things right, and that's great.
Thank you.
And in the topic of the fifth industrial revolution, so you talk about local labor, you're doing something about that. You talk about the youth, you're doing something about that. So I just wanted to get your point on something that may sound a little bit unusual, but still very important. Is actually the question of gender in this fifth industrial revolution, because it's all about building and constructing a fairer society. And in your case, maybe your specific case, your specific company. So how do you tackle this question? I wouldn't say issue because I don't necessarily want to see that pitch that as a problem, but more like a topic that needs to be discussed. So how do you tackle that?
Yeah, absolutely. The question of gender is really critical, mostly in the domain of engineering, where a lot of traditional concepts believe that women cannot excel or cannot do what men are doing. Personally, my personal commitment, we have definitely decided to move into a new vision where we give priority, we give opportunity to ladies to have access to high level engineering job. And this has been proven in most of our equipment, whether this been, the graduate program, we ensure that a correct mix of, ladies and gentlemen is definitely done. And to ensure that we meet this important criteria going forward. So the gender question in Aggreko is not something we do give the HR, we do give priority. And currently, I have some underground plan, to engage a lot of young graduates from university, mostly female people in the engineering team to drive, the next 10 years strategy. So it's something we are really focusing on, and we think it must be done absolutely.
And I can tell you, the female colleagues that we have watching this conversation will be very glad and happy to hear that, as well as people like me that always is a strong supporter of a much more involved female workforce into the industry, energy industry, as you mentioned. So all in all, I can see that the fifth industrial revolution is very important for the company, but also for you. So, as a sort of final question, I just want to touch on what are, first of all, does Aggreko have targets that you want to achieve for that fifth industrial revolutions? And if yes, what do you do to make sure that you will achieve them by when?
Currently, we are building what I would call our next 10-year strategy. And this strategy is we focus on digitalization and remote controls and monitoring and upskilling the actual resource we have in the business and attracting, the critical resource globally interested to come and work in Africa to be part of this journey, including also the reduction of the carbon footprint by moving towards a more greener energy. If you look at all these plans, human beings sit at the center of this. So this cannot be achieved if we don't invest in our people in terms of developing new skill, artificial intelligence, moving gradually from a system PLC headed to a system where human brains play a key and fundamental role and to meet the target goals. Just to tell you, we believe that investing in our people is one of the top priorities to drive our next 10-year strategy. Okay, which will be focused on advanced digitalization, reduction of the carbon footprint by moving towards a more greener energy, and ensuring that we use the technology, the communication, whatever exists at the highest level to drive the business performance. Of course, many people think that are only looking at the adverse effect of in terms of some jobs obviously will disappear as a result of fourth revolution. But the new stream of jobs to be created in the remote monitoring centers is really massive. It's really massive. And that's the direction that we are considering in Aggreko, to continue to be the among the innovative leading company in the domain of power, of the providing power to our.
Okay, Samuel, I said that was the last question, but I can't resist asking you a very last or very final one. But I promise you, it's a light-hearted one. So, is the fifth industrial revolution will make Wakanda a reality in Africa?
I believe I'm part of it. I
Yeah,
think
you think yes?
yes.
Excellent. So I think that's all I could say for today. So Samuel Tuma, head of engineering for Aggreko, it was a real pleasure, a distinctive honor for me to be talking to you about the fifth industrial revolution, diving into it. And I want to say thank you very much, and I wish you a wonderful summit. And I'm sure we'll bump across each other very soon. Thank you.
You are welcome. Thanks a lot for the opportunity given to myself, not only to present what we think about Africa future, but most important, what Agrico is doing as contribution, to drive the future of Africa. So thank you for this massive opportunity. I'm looking forward to meeting with you and speaking to you once more. Thank you.